Hey my loves, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Lina Noory and thank you for clicking on this video. And for those of you who are returning, of course I appreciate your support. And in today's video, we're gonna talk about my favorite evening shoe, and guess what? It happens to be under $100. I've actually been wearing these sandals from Aldo for several years now. And the reason being is, number one, they are extremely comfortable. And number two, they're only $80. And although the price is not the main reason why I bought these sandals, it doesn't hurt to know that they are only $80. And actually right now I checked the website, and when I purchased these, they were buy one, get one 40% off. So you actually get them for even cheaper. And of course I bought two sandals. One is in the gold, which I really like it because it's kind of more of a muted gold. As you know, or you've seen my other videos, I like to have something that's more of a muted gold, not exactly the yellow gold. So these are the gold, and then of course, these are the nude. And if you haven't noticed, or if you are somebody that follows a lot of the designer brands, these are very similar to the Stuart Weitzman nudist sandal. And although Aldo and Steve Madden, along with other brands, they're commonly known to make the inspired look of higher end designer shoes. For example, the Saint Laurent shoes, the Tributes, and so many different shoes. Actually, when I walk into the store, sometimes I'm shocked. I'm like, oh, that's that brand. Oh, that's that brand. But this is just a simple sandal. I don't feel like a specific brand owns the right to a simple sandal. It's just a single strap right here, has the backing and then the strap all the way around. And this does look very similar to the nudist sandal, as I'd mentioned, by Stuart Weitzman. And I actually wanted to do a budget stylist video with these specific sandals and then the Stuart Weitzman ones, but I don't own them. My girlfriend does, so maybe in a future video I'll ask her if I can borrow the sandals, because I don't like to do a compare and contrast between two different brands unless I have the sandals here with me in front of me. But just basic details, this is the Aldo Brandy sandal. They have the backing, which normally with an evening shoe, I like to not have this part of the backing on the back because I feel like this kind of dresses it down a little bit. But I found that with these specific shoes, I actually have more comfort, and the sandal isn't really like slopping up on your leg. You notice sometimes how if you have sandals that have this wrap all the way around and then there's nothing back here, it'll kind of flap up onto the bottom of your heel when you're walking. So I do feel like the backing on these sandals specifically give it a lot more support. And what I really like about the Brandy sandals is that you still get the height. They are 4.25 inch heel height, which is very high. I like to steer away from 4-inch heels. I generally like to purchase 3.75 inch heels and lower, just because I'm all about comfort now. Back in the day, you could give me 4 or 5 inch heels. I would rock them, especially with super high platforms. But now I'm all about the comfort. I actually recently wore these to my best friend's wedding, and I'll include a clip up on the top right where I came down the aisle. So she's Persian and Jewish, and in Persian tradition or culture, it is required that you come down the aisle dancing. So legitimately, I came down jumping up and down to the song Reload in these heels. And I would actually say that that was the first and only time at my best friend's wedding where these shoes did hurt my feet. I actually ended up wearing these for about 14 hours, talking about from start of hair and makeup to filming to photos, all the way till 2 or 3 in the morning. So these lasted the longest I've ever lasted in heels without wanting to die. So basically, these are the most comfortable shoes that I've ever worn. I actually have other designers. I have Christian Louboutin, I have Saint Laurent's, I also have Valentino's, and they're all evening heels that are specifically like this look here, and I only last a maximum of 2 or 3 hours in them. So I would definitely say, without a doubt, these are my favorite heels. I actually randomly came across these heels one day when I was going to a wedding. It was super last minute, and I wanted to get something super quick, and these fit the best to go with my dress. I was wearing a red evening dress, which I'll also include a photo up on the top right. But yeah, so I got these heels and I was just so impressed with how comfortable they were. I will say though that the bottom lining is rubber, so it's not a leather sole lining, so it's not the best quality, but for $80, it really is an excellent heel. And I've worn these probably 30 or 40 times. The only complaint I do have is that I noticed that it's starting to peel a little bit in the corner, which, as I'd mentioned, I've worn these so many times. I still feel like I got my money's worth with these heels, and if they end up peeling a lot more, right now it's not really noticeable, but if they end up peeling a lot more, then of course I'll throw these out and get a new pair because they are only $80. And then, as I'd mentioned, there's so many different sales with Aldo, but these are my favorite and my go-to evening heels. The nude ones I wear a lot more, especially with like a cocktail dress, because I love the fact that it's nude and it goes really well with my skin tone. I know the nude actually, when I first purchased these, came in 2 or 3 different nude tones. So there was like a darker nude, more of a pale nude, and then there was like a taupe, I believe it was taupe, like a taupe colored nude. But I like the fact that there's also so many variations in the nude because we're not all the same skin color. And then of course the gold ones just go with any skin tone. They also came in a black, and then they came with different prints at different times. There's ones with like cherries on them. I'm just not a big fan of shoes with like prints on them, so I was never excited about those heels and I never had the desire to purchase them. I've always just liked a more simpler heel, and especially when I'm wearing these with an evening gown, you can't even see the shoes. It's covered up by the dress, but I do think these are a great pick, and it is spring season, which means weddings are coming up if they haven't happened already. And now moving on to the fit. These sandals are actually true to size, so make sure to get your standard size. And then they were a little bit tight where the strap was. So what I did is when I went to the store, I asked them if they were able to stretch them out. So I purchased both of the heels, stretched them out, and then came and picked them up the next day. They did it complimentary, so I didn't have to pay for it, but it was a great way to kind of already expand the shoes. So if you do have wider toes like I do, I definitely recommend expanding the shoes either at the store or if you have a local shoe repair. It's usually no more than $10 or $15 to expand them. I have never had a problem with blisters with these heels. The platform is a little bit high because, as I said, it's 4.2 inches. So if you do have a problem with the arch right here, I would also recommend getting those pads, which I also sell in the store. Now, the only thing I would say about these heels, aside from the fact that they are tight here, but if you expand them, you will no longer have that problem, is that I found that when I first purchased them, they were extremely slippery on the bottom. So what I usually do with my heels, which I know sounds crazy, is I'll just take a box cutter or something sharp and then I'll carve into the bottom of the heel. You definitely don't want to put too much pressure because you'll end up actually cutting into the heel, but just only enough to get those single lines or those single ripples that'll help you get a better grip onto the floor. But of course, always be safe, especially if you are using a box cutter or a knife. And if you are underage, which I hope you're not, you shouldn't even be using a box cutter. Make sure that your parents are around or that you're super safe with it. But that's just a quick tip that I do with my shoes if I want to make sure I get an extra grip, or I'll just take it to my local shoe repair and they'll put the rubbers on the bottom, which are amazing. It actually adds extra comfort as well because it gives you like a tiny bit of a platform. So if you are looking for the perfect evening heel for any event coming up and you don't want to pay the designer cost, I would recommend the Aldo Brandy shoes, and I wear these personally and I purchased them personally. These are shoes that I bought myself and that I wore and I absolutely love. And you don't need to always pay the designer price, especially if they're gonna touch the floor. And as I've mentioned in my other videos, I've kind of pulled away from buying designer shoes just because I feel like it's such a waste. I mean, as you can see, I literally wore these shoes up and down. Like, they are destroyed, and that's evidence right here that I got a lot of use out of these sandals. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it 2 thumbs up, and of course if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe below. My Instagram at Lina Noory is up on the top right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know what you want to see in the comment box below. I will see you guys next time. Bye.